2,300 years ago, on a dusty plain called Gaugamela, a young Macedonian king pulled one of the greatest deceptions in military history. Alexander had a smaller army, a weaker position, and every reason to lose. But he didn't lose, he bluffed. He moved his cavalry to the right, slowly, deliberately, until the Persian Emperor Darius did exactly what Alexander wanted him to do. He chased the bluff. He left a gap in his own center, and Alexander drove straight through it. Darius fled. His empire fell. The greatest power of the ancient world collapsed because its leader reacted to a move that was designed to be reacted to. I want you to hold that image in your mind because what is happening right now between Washington and Tehran is in many, many ways the same battle being fought with diplomats instead of cavalry and with nuclear centrifuges instead of chariots. Here is what we know. In early 2026, after large-scale protests inside Iran, the United States and Iran returned to the negotiating table following a period of suspended talks. There were rounds of talks in Muscat, in Geneva, in Rome. Omani mediators, cautious language. Substantial progress, someone said. Then less than 48 hours before US and Israeli coordinated strikes on Iran began on February 28th. American envoys were still sitting across the Iranian foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, in Geneva. Think about that timing. The US had tough demands on the table, including that Iran destroy its three main nuclear sites at Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, and hand over its remaining enriched uranium. Iran said that was unacceptable. The strikes happened anyway. Then came Islamabad, a fragile ceasefire, the first face-to-face engagement between the US and Iran. 21 hours of talks. Pakistan, of all countries, emerging as the unlikely mediator that both sides actually trusted. And then nothing, no deal. Vice President J.D. Vance walked out and told reporters, "The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement." And I think that's bad news for Iran, much more than it's bad news for the US. Now, who is Alexander in this story and who's Darius? This is the question Tehran is desperately trying to answer, and it may be getting it wrong. Washington has moved its cavalry to the right. It has talked. It has offered frameworks. It has sent envoys, opened back channels, and allowed Pakistan to broker a ceasefire. It has looked like it wants a deal. But simultaneously, US Navy guided missile destroyers moved through the Strait of Hormuz. American forces began clearing Iranian sea mines from the waterway. The pressure never actually stopped. The military posture never actually softened. Iran, meanwhile, has been reacting, demanding, counter-offering, insisting on an end to Israeli strikes on Hezbollah, the release of frozen assets, control over the Strait of Hormuz, chasing the bluff. And just as Darius spread his cavalry thin, trying to match Alexander's movement, Iran has been stretched across every front. Its proxies weakened, its nuclear scientists targeted, its economy strangled, its people in the streets. But here is where the analogy breaks, and breaks dangerously. Darius lost his empire in a single afternoon. What is at stake in the Persian Gulf today cannot be resolved in a single afternoon. Trump himself has said the goals for this conflict included destroying Iran's military capabilities and regime change, neither of which have happened. This is not Gaugamela. That is a war without a clean ending. And unlike Alexander, who buried Darius with honors and treated the Persian royal family with respect, there is no such guarantee here. No one has told us what the morning after looks like. Alexander's masterstroke worked because he knew exactly what he wanted, and he made his enemy react to his plan rather than their own. The question for our time is simpler and harder. Does anyone in this conflict on either side actually know what they want the world to look like when the dust settles? Because if they don't, then there is no masterstroke here, only a battle.